Hey, what's up? This is Surf Dudes with Attitude. This is Pete from New York City. Thank you for coming back.
Hello, and this is Zach from Nashville, Tennessee.
And I'm the producer, George Howell, in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Thanks for letting us know where you're from. It takes a village to make this podcast happen, doesn't it?
It really does. A widespread village.
Mm-hmm. I don't know when this is coming out, but we're nearing Christmas, and I was kind of hoping for a Christmas episode, like a Christmas miracle that somebody would, I don't know, have a tree there or something. Although in this episode, Jenny did make mention of Santa Claus, so
that's
could
true.
Be festive. Who knows?
It counts.
I promise. You did ask last week if there's holiday episodes, and I'm pretty sure there's definitely like one about Arbor Day. There's a Boxing Day celebration. Flag Day?
Ooh.
Big fan of Flag Day. So
that's great.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
How was your day, Zach?
You know what?
A little late.
It was pretty good. I did. Thank you for remembering. I had some holiday shopping to get done for some nieces, and it went pretty well. You know, it's how about you? I have a question about your duck friend. I don't remember them in previous episodes, but that might be me.
This was a Christmas ornament gift.
Oh,
that's it. It's kind of distract people from the fact that there's two microphones in front of me because, just playing it safe.
Yeah, that second microphone or the first microphone, but I think the second looks like the shadow from the first.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's the same dimension. It's just
a
like
3D effect.
Off. Yeah, it looks like it's cut out, like it's beyond black.
This one's got a condom on it, so
there it is. Well, thank goodness. The other one's just willy-nilly flying in the wind.
There's quite a setup here. I have a battery pack here, bungee corded to this. So I'm basically like, I don't know, who's a famous cinematographer? I'm that guy that worked on The Revenant. That's me right here.
Yeah. I enjoy it. I like your setup.
Well, we're gonna trudge on.
What's the duck's name, Pete?
Oh, I didn't name it yet. We should name it something. This has to be our little mascot.
I agree.
Obviously, we can call this Sharky.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good.
Because it's a goose.
Obviously, we can call it Sharky.
I don't want to spoil anything, but we saw a logo Sharky. We got a close-up of the menu from Sharky.
I noticed that too.
In this episode. And I got a lot of questions about it. This shark is wearing board shorts.
Yeah.
It's really obese to be a surfer. Again, they can do whatever they want, but
absolutely.
I don't know.
You know what? I didn't notice obesity. I think its legs were a bit small for its face.
The fact that it has legs in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand you have to anthropomorphize these animals.
Sure.
But it's like that question of like, how do dogs wear pants? Would it be up there or would it be all four of its limbs? And
yeah, like street sharks were like the muscular version of this. Like this is like your everyday street shark.
It did look a little Street Sharks-esque when I saw it.
Very, very Jocelyn.
A little Rule 34 hentai. What he's packing below those board shorts, but
look out.
We're gonna get into all that.
That might be the best part of the episode, though. No spoilers, but it might have been my favorite part. This episode's hard.
So I think you only dig the odd or the even episodes. That's what I'm getting. You really like 2 and you really like 4. So we gotta understand that the fifth all the odd episodes are gonna be dumb. Okay?
Yeah, let's see what these. Well, I liked 1. So what does that say?
It means this show is constantly surprising us.
Yeah, I'm curious. If next week comes in strong, then we'll see. Did you like this episode?
No. This was a very aggressive episode. It was very hostile. There wasn't much heart there at all. But we've gotten used to. We've gotten lulled into this security blanket of love and positivity from all four members of California Dreams. Not so much Jenny, but still, overall, there's a great vibe in the whole universe. And then this episode, man, it's rough.
It's rough. Though there's one moment of sweetness that kind of ends very quickly. Which we'll get, we can, I'm sure we both know, but, we'll point it out when it happens of like, oh, nice. They handled that well. Oh, no, not really.
No, they did. It's like a 1-2, it's like a 1-2 punch. So this is the 5th episode. This is entitled Dream Man and came out October 10th, 1992. I want to say that they took a week off between this. So I just noticed with the release dates that between episode 4 and 5, you just didn't have it. So do you think anybody was sitting there being like, God damn it. Like they're not even going to show a rerun or anything? Could they even show a rerun after 4 episodes? Like a greatest hits, a clip show?
That's a good question. What was happening in the news that maybe... Like was it news related? Was it like network related, or was it show related that they got?
What I think it was? Like legit, this was probably like a presidential debate or something.
Oh.
Because let's just think, I'm adjusting my camera so nobody can see my bed that's not made. So I'm getting really
this is
particular.
you're like maybe over here. No, abandoned ship.
So we're gonna assume that the Ross Perot debate was going on at this point, and they had on a Saturday morning, and it's really important for everybody to see.
Yeah, because this is remind me, this is a NBC show, and
I want to say when it first started, because by this point, Saved by the Bell was in rotation and popular, and. So they definitely, at some point, threw this on. Yeah, it had to be. I'm going to say it was Saturday morning. Teen NBC.
Great.
So anyway.
When those debates would come on in the middle of the Saturday morning teen programming.
Yeah, that's the demographic you're open for.
Yeah.
The mechanic on his lunch break. So anyway, we start at Sharky's. As we most always do. And I see this horrific sight during this first scene, and it's Matt sitting at the bar just playing guitar. Yeah. And nobody is like throwing cabbage or tomatoes at him. I don't understand how anybody's just letting this happen.
Yeah.
It's really cringy, and the note that the chords that he's playing, it's A to C to F to G, and are you ready? Back to A again. And he's writing this down like, damn, this is good stuff. And even before I wrote that down, and then the next line was like, this is really good. He actually comes out and says it. It's like the 4 most basic chords. But I guess the joke is there that he says, oh no, this is actually awful, which is something I think we can all relate to as musicians. We think it's great, and then it's immediately garbage because we have imposter syndrome, or in Matt's case, it is garbage because it's very, very generic.
Yeah, I will say this episode had pretty real drama, band the plight of a musician stuff in it. It really sidetracks with all like the personal Sly and Jenny stuff that we'll get into, but like it really sidetracks with that. All the stuff that like Matt has to deal with like as a side, kind of a secondary plot to this whole thing, is pretty relatable.
Yeah, there are some really good moments there, and it's going to bring up some good talking points, I think.
I hope so.
It's because we're robbed of, like, they don't play a song at all as a band. We see them at rehearsal, like, I think multiple times, and they don't actually all play a song together. But I'm impressed with this band being able to get together as much as they do. It's almost like they really rehearse like once a day, which good for them. I wish I could.
So George just shared some what happened on October 3rd, 1992. So American Queen of Pop singer Madonna, if you remember her, premieres her erotica music video on MTV. Probably not in the morning, but this would be something that's, same day as this episode was skipped. Sinead O'Connor rips up a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live's. That was iconic. And you know what? Probably at least most of the California Dreams saw that episode.
I would hope so.
They probably saw that episode.
Well, they saw it that night. I mean, who could miss it, basically?
Yeah, because I don't know at what point. I think when the internet. So like Saturday Night Live, I think has been enjoyed by pretty much all ages. And I remember as soon as I was old enough to watch it, I enjoyed it. And I don't know how many kids and teenagers are watching it now as much. It seems to cater more towards millennial humor than Gen Z humor in general. Yeah. But yeah, in this at this time in the 90s, I feel like they would have all definitely been watching this episode of Sinead O'Connor, and seen that impact. Maybe that's why they couldn't. They didn't have an episode. They skipped it. To
rest, to mourn.
Yeah,
the end of American Christianity as we know it.
That's right, because it was. We should. I don't know if there's at some point we should have polls. We should have polls with our Patreon supporters. Who about topics like this, like who in the California Dreams would have been in support of Sinead O'Connor, and who would have been like, that was too far. Because I feel like,
I'm gonna say Tony, hardcore support.
Yes,
we found out last week or 2 weeks ago he wants to end apartheid, and so he's very socially conscious. So I think he would, be on the side of Sinead O'Connor.
I think so too. And
that time SNL was definitely catering more towards more adult stuff, as you were talking about. So I don't think they'd be like, it's not my parents watch, not me, But I don't know. That's a great point. It was also the day that LeVar Burton got married, so I would want a national holiday for that as well.
That's great. And Michelle and Barack Obama got married that day.
Well, back then it was they were just two nobodies,
Like who? Who? Just some wedding.
I want to see that marriage certificate. That's what I want to see. I don't believe it happened.
That's what we need. We need proof of.
I need a long form marriage certificate.
What is this website? All right.
So, Zach, have you ever sat in a restaurant and played the guitar, an acoustic guitar at that?
No.
Okay. Well, worth a shot.
No. I mean, okay. So I get what they're doing. Either trying to set up this plot that's going to go through for a while of like Matt trying to write this song and getting interrupted. And this is like the introduction to this little plot of his. Is a funny one because he's at a restaurant. He's at Sharky's. I definitely haven't tried to write music out loud at a restaurant, and I definitely wouldn't go to the venue/restaurant hangout that I play to sit there and be like, just working on the next gig stuff
that I'll play 20 feet from this location.
That feels pretty cringy. Yeah.
Yes. I find it cringy to just watch people work on their laptops at a coffee shop, especially when it's like something creative. Like I've seen people work on like screenplays, and I'm just like, you need to go home. You need to just work on that and then bust it out when it's like perfect and ready. I don't want to see it when I'm getting a hot chocolate.
I have worked on stuff at cafe on my laptop or like with a sketch pad. a
I just assume you have
chalkboard.
a big easel that you bring
Yeah.
out.
I bring that. That's different. It's not making noise.
You just Bob Ross that shit. When you're at a Panera?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Of course. While I wait on my favorite loaf.
Well, you're right that Matt is. I guess that makes sense. He keeps getting interrupted. That's the joke here. I also got the feeling that he's got like writer's block, because he's going back and forth of whether the song is good. Spoiler alert: it's not good. It's very generic sounding, and he outsources the lyrics to TIffany, to calamitous results that we'll get into. But I did notice in this scene that he's wearing his Renegade shirt. So
Pretty
I think
sick.
it's teasing me, it's tempting me, it's baiting me into going deeper in this rabbit hole of whether this actually is the Renegade shirt. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison for a Patreon video, and we're all going to be investigators together. I'm going to be like a film noir detective in front of a microfiche machine late at night. I'm going to crack the code. So then we see Sly come in with a terrible vest again, as Sly does. Mm-hmm. And he says that in order to bolster their live performances, Matt should start fire breathing.
Now you blow fire, don't you, Pete?
I do. I've done some fire breathing, some fire eating. I've done some torch juggling.
Mixed it in with your musical performances?
Not the breathing or eating, but I've done some torch juggling and performances. Basically, I'd have to like have the rest of the band keep it going, maybe have a loop for me in my absence, and then do it. But I'm not good enough to really continue that. I'm good at keeping the torches up, maybe doing a couple little tricks, but a torch, it stays lit for like a minute, and people will get very bored after a minute unless you're really upping your ante after each trick. Me, it would just be like, I got it, and I'm keeping it up, and that should be enough for you guys. And then I'm going to awkwardly blow them out and go back to my music. So you would pretty much need to bring in somebody else, somebody with more skin. That would be better. I don't think Matt is the type of guy that could pull off the fire breathing look. Just saying.
I don't think so either. I think in general, I'm all for theatrics in music and performance. That seems fine. But yeah, it's like, hey, know your band, Sly.
Yeah. This seems like something you would do. I could see this in your future, though.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. You just said you love theatrics. I could just see fire being incorporated. I guess the problem is like a lot of places will not allow it.
That is true. I've blown fire before, never as a performance. Just like had some friends just show me how.
Shits and giggles.
Just for a good time.
Just for goof. Did you learn with milk? That's how I learned.
I did not.
You could visually see the spray, and you could make sure that it was good before you're actually ready to actually put lamp oil in your mouth.
Yeah, I think we used water to practice with, but milk would have been it probably more visible.
It does the body good.
And it does the body good.
Is he on a Gibson guitar? I thought I was trying to see what the acoustic guitar brand was. I'm pretty sure it's a Gibson, but maybe one of our eagle-eyed listeners can kind of tell us. Anyway, there's a couple of babes that walk in, and Sly and Tony just go into horn dog mode right away.
Here we go.
One of them is Jenny. The other one is Jasmine. I guess we're reviving the idea that Sly is into Jenny. We had
pretty hard.
We had a reprieve of it for at least 3 or 4 episodes, because after the first episode, you're right, they had more of a contentious relationship, but Jenny is she is on the defense anytime Sly's around. She does not like him. Thinks he's sleazy. She's not incorrect either.
I think she might be right.
Yeah. And Jasmine is somebody new in this episode. So Penny is also introduced in this episode. And Tony is throwing a lot of lines at her. He's spitting a lot of game, and none of it's working.
Yep.
Told you. Okay. Well, we're done with that. All right. So so Tiff comes in and she said her dad is out of town on business this weekend and she wants to sleep over. Is she scared to sleep on her own at her own place? Where's her mom? Is Tiff a child of divorce too?
Ooh. Maybe. Yeah, that might be the case.
Yeah, because I don't know why they'd have to preface it with saying let's have a sleepover. So is this a Friday? Because remember, they're technically in school, though we have not seen a school yet up to this point.
Yeah.
So assuming it's Friday,
She doesn't want to be home alone. She wants to come over. Assuming,
What do you think?
you know, or home alone with her mom.
sure, yeah, her awful mother,
Yeah, it's like,
her gross stepmom.
yeah.
What do you think Tiff's dad does for business?
He's gone on business.
He's like a door-to-door vacuum cleaner salesman or something. What?
It
This
seemed
This is a
not
rhetorical question. I don't
frequent
know if you
enough.
know.
I don't know. It doesn't seem frequent. And like she says it as though it's not shocking that he's gone on business, but it's also, they're very excited that this turns into like a slumber party.
Yes.
So it doesn't seem like a, hey, same thing we do every time.
Yeah.
You know, this is not a
That's
reoccurring.
true.
So I don't know if it's door-to-door salesman, but I think he travels. His work is not travel, but he travels for work.
Okay.
A couple times a year.
So not a long-haul truck driver.
No
So he's
way.
not like an absentee dad. But also, maybe this is like a yearly convention or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of being excited for this, the slumber party.
I
You
might be
immediately
wrong. I don't know.
You probably
So
wrong.
I'm getting like, I might be wrong. I'm getting like white collar parent vibes from most of the parents. Tiffany could go either way. Could have blue collar. Like I think they doing well. Everybody comes from a certain amount of money. 90s middle class, upper middle class.
But she's too nice to be like a super rich kid.
Yeah, she's too nice. She surfs.
She gets it.
She plays bass. You know bass
Only
players.
Idiots play bass. Yeah, they do the walkies. I know bass players.
Yeah, you know about them. Exactly. Their parents are all, you know, skin of the earth types. Just trying to do right by their family.
You know who else likes bass players? Jane Fonda, because we get a Jane Fonda reference in this next scene.
We sure do.
I guess the girls are eating brownies and they don't want to get fat.
Yeah, so they're like, you gotta do, these brownies are great, but you gotta do like 1,000 hours of Jane Fonda to work them off.
Did your parents ever have the Jane Fonda workout tapes?
No, we didn't do Jane Fonda. There was another blonde lady in the 90s that we had
Suzanne
exercised.
Summers.
It wasn't Suzanne Summers, but yes, you're right.
What was it?
I should
Dolly
know.
Parton.
No, it wasn't that either.
Why can't I? There's only 3 blonde ladies in the 90s I can think of, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there were more, but yeah. And it wasn't Richard Simmons. That came later.
No. My parents definitely had, I don't know if they got it from somebody from their church, but the 8-minute abs tape definitely showed up in my house.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get muscular when I was 11 years old, I think, maybe earlier. And I used to do 8-minute abs in secret. That's how you can tell I got this fucking Adonis body. But I remember I used to do it for 8 minutes when I knew everybody was asleep. And then I would take it out. Well, I would rewind it, take it out, and I put it like upside down, and I shove it in the shelf so nobody would know that I was exercising. I've never told anybody that. So I'm being really vulnerable right now. Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'm pretty private with my workouts. I'll do the gym and that's fine, but like my home workouts, I don't want to do it around any of the people that I live with. who have seen me do most things, but I still don't want it. And I've always been that way. What is that?
I think because you're accepting, like, not defeat, but you're saying I have a problem, or I don't know. It's embarrassing because it's a vulnerable position where you're getting winded and you're sweaty and you're gross, and I don't know. I think as a kid I just wanted to like show up with like super cut abs and be like, what? This is just how I woke up.
Do you like practicing in front of people or audibly around people?
Oh my God, no, I don't. I will
same.
play. I will play in front of, like, because I'll be bored, and it just doesn't happen a lot. But I will never just sit there and practice something. Like, it feels like I have to put on a performance. But
I'm the same way. I think this.
I also don't.
There's some overlap with this and the exercise. I think it's probably a perfectionist thing, and we need to work on it.
Oh yeah, I just want to be really good at it. I don't sing though either. I would find that really awkward if somebody just started singing in front of me, even if they're just like working something out. Like, if you're singing in front of me, it should be hilarious, or it should like make me cry. So it can't be anywhere in between. It better be amazing.
I feel that about singing around others, practicing singing around others, and your opinion's solidifying. It's justifying my secrecy. I sing in the car and alone.
I definitely remember my parents getting a Nordic track as well from somebody at their church, and that was the ski one where you went like that.
Oh,
yeah.
The ponytail guy?
No, that was the Gazelle. That was Tony Little.
That's right.
That's the other blonde lady that I couldn't remember. Tony Little.
And it wasn't that, but yes.
Anyway.
Those are great.
So also during this scene, we see that Jenny has kept a diary, which will come in later. And then I should correct myself. She says a really hilarious line. She's like, girls keep diary. Women keep journals. So,
and the crowd's like, ooh, cool.
What does that even mean? I mean, I guess but it's still a diary. She's just calling it a journal. Did you ever keep a journal or diary, Zach?
Yes, I did.
Wow. Do you still have it? Can you read it for us? Weeks?
I think I didn't keep a journal during times when I probably needed one. Like, I know there's a lot of value for people who journal, and I will do it periodically, and it is always beneficial. It's good to work things out. But no, we had, like, in grade school, my mom had it sort of assigned to us as part of our writing, just practicing writing. So it was like daily write in your journals, and it was just like accounts of the day. And so I'm like that's all I spent. So none of it's really that embarrassing or personal. It's just like, it was homeschooled, and I just rode my bike and, like, played paintball and
I would like to
stick
know
fought. So it's just like, it's very like, and then I woke up, and then I did school, and then I did. Yeah.
I would like to know when you flossed your teeth though on a certain day. That might be fun.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe we'll get it.
That sounds really boring.
It's pretty boring. There was when Tiffany like picks up the journal and then just starts reading it out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, does anybody do that?
But it just happened to be about her, the line. And then it happened to be about her. In this line, she's at least very self-aware of her Pollyanna attitude about everything, which I was like, okay, they're saying it, that it sometimes can be overbearing, but it is adorable. So we then jump.
There were a couple of things that stood out that were subtle, that I think give us some insight into Jenny a little bit. And in this entry, she says, today is my 12th birthday. Who'd have thought I'd ever live this long? And it's supposed to be a joke, and everybody laughs, but it's like, that's a depressed child. That is a depressed child. That's rough. What happened to Jenny that, like, pre-12, she's already like, I don't know if I'm gonna like, I can't imagine growing up. Like, it's that.
Well, she didn't go to the Grand Canyon. We know that. That could be pretty traumatic.
Add that
for a
to
child.
the list. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I think it was trying to be a juxtaposition to how happy TIffany is, but you're right. Out of context,
Yeah.
that line is very depressing.
It is. There's there's another one that happens later. We'll keep chronological, so
Cool.
I don't bounce around. But there's another one that adds to this.
Speaking of bouncing around, you just tell me when you get sick of these segues. Speaking of bouncing around, we go to Matt's room, and there's a piano in there that wasn't there in the first episode.
He got a new piano with
am I
that
wrong?
money from Sharky Gig, probably.
You know where he got it? He sold that REM poster because that's gone too.
Maybe it was signed, and he got some good cash out of it.
Or he's just like, fuck REM. I want to put another Tom Petty poster up there. I think it might be one of the. I think it might be the same one from the garage, but
Moved it around.
Anyway, Sly and Tony come in. Another gag. They want to spy on the girls. Blah blah blah. And I don't care. This whole subplot is like dumb. But they invite Dennis in, and Dennis is in this episode. I really thought we were gonna get. We haven't seen him since episode 1, right?
No, he was.
He was in the. He was on drums in the last episode.
Yeah.
Or 2 episodes ago, in 1-3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I was really hoping we get rid of him. Maybe we only get like a small smidgen of him every other episode. Anyway, he's gonna help Sly and Tony spy on Jenny. I don't know what their goal is here before Sly finds out what Jenny's dream man is, which is the name of the episode. Are they just hoping to catch these girls changing or something?
I guess, yeah, because they're it's like, hey, you're not watching my sister, are you? And he's like, not till they, or I was till they closed the blinds or something like that. So yeah, they've been peeping.
Peeping Toms. Hilarious.
They're peeping Toms. It's classic.
So we jump back to Jenny's room, which is the first time we've seen Jenny's room. And I noticed there was a band poster on the wall. I think it was a band called The Shingles. I looked them up. I couldn't find anything about this band. That's what, at least I think it says that. I don't know. I don't know if you noticed that, but Tiff is, I guess they're playing Truth or Dare, but they're totally playing Truth or Dare wrong, where they ask a truth question and Jenny's like, I'm not answering that. What's the dare? And she says, please kiss Sly. But I wanted to ask about, they said you were, for the truth question, they said, what were you doing in the car? And they said this guy's name was Robert Felcher. So I think they answered their own question.
I think we might know. Uh-oh.
Is that his nickname because he's constantly felching?
That's a great question. Or is this his Christian name? Is this the surname
Robert.
that was
Robert's
passed
my
down?
father. I'm Bobby Felcher.
Yeah.
Felchin's a name. Felching's my game. Something.
All names came from originally occupations, so it's a family, it's tradition at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's Latin for siphon, I think.
Oh.
But anyway, she says kiss Sly, and everyone's grossed out.
And then she's doesn't want to do that.
But this is all a ruse. They get the girls out of there. Dennis helps get the girls out of there so Sly can go sneak in. Then we are in the kitchen, and Matt is again working on this song. Just like his chords he's playing right now are C to F to G to E. And he is just so frustrated. Maybe if Matt knew more than like 5 chords, he could maybe write a whole song. I get really annoyed at first position chords. I don't know about you. It just, even from when I was a kid and I was learning how to play, I was like, okay, I know, I'm fine. What more can I do? Because it just seemed like every iteration, every formation, every pattern of chords had already been done. I wanted to do something different. But
yeah, I write songs with first position chords, but they do hold a different place in my brain. It's like, hey, let's do an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like even if the others, like there might be simpler songs that I've written that use less chords but more complicated ones, or even just bar chords exclusively. But yeah, it does hold a different place. I've come to appreciate the first position chords more so.
Yeah, I think
more
as
than
I get
used to.
older, I find myself going to them more, but not playing them. I think maybe it's Matt's strumming pattern because it's just so generic.
Yeah.
Singer songwriter, and I guess a lot of that stuff is more about lyrics and song structure. But I was real annoyed here. So we do have some breaking news. I don't want to bust in too much here, but apparently the poster in Jenny's room is the police, which means I can't read.
The
But
shingles.
But looking at it, it did look like 3 British men, or 2 British guys and Stuart Copeland. So I guess I stand corrected. It really looked like the Shingles, enough so that I kept looking them up. And there is a band from Southern California called the Shingles, but they didn't start until like 2018.
Oh,
But I was like,
it's close.
maybe they did it from this episode. Who knows?
Maybe they named themselves the Shingles because of that poster in Jenny's room.
Maybe they never got chicken pox, and they're just like, if I name my band the Shingles, I will not get it.
Maybe so.
Okay. God, I'm trying to talk about anything else other than the subplot of Dream Man.
Yeah.
So the girls are scared downstairs. There's a tarantula. Anyway, Matt needs help writing lyrics, and Tiff has offered to help.
Yeah.
And then Tony also lays another terrible line on this poor Jasmine girl who's just there, wants to hang out. She doesn't want to be fucking catcalled by this idiot. I don't know. This is the seedlings of Tiff writing a song about a guy from the Midwest, comes out to California, doesn't have any friends. Is this the story of Matt Garrison? Because
Is this Matt Garrison's story? Yeah.
isn't it the family? Isn't that the whole thing? The family moved out there from the Midwest. Am I?
Yeah, because this is Matt's idea. Like, he's like, this is what the song's about. This is what I'm struggling, but this is it. And he's bad. He can't swim. He can't surf. And then she's like, he can play volleyball. Give him, and then he can make friends doing that. That's your plot.
All the trouble I've had making friends, I haven't joined a volleyball team, and maybe that's why.
Oh, get ready to live, Pete.
I just thought starting a podcast about a 30-year-old children's show was going to be the thing that would make me sociable again.
Why not both?
They're not mutually exclusive.
Exactly. We should do a volleyball episode.
Oh, I would love a Surf Dudes with Attitude volleyball team, because
Yeah.
we put our money where our mouth is. Like, if we're not going to surf, we should at least do something beach oriented.
For sure. Maybe when we get some guests on, some real cast members from the show, maybe they would play volleyball with us. We can do an outing. We can show them around, or they can show us around.
They can show us around,
depending on where things are. I don't know. Wherever we end up.
We know Brentley Gore is in the landlocked state of Nashville, Tennessee, so he can take us to some beaches and show us some sick ass volleyball courts.
I love this. I used to play a lot of volleyball when I was a child.
I think I was like 15 when I found out that it wasn't volleyball, that it was volleyball. Like, I was way too old to have figured that. Finally somebody told me that, like, why are you saying it like that? It's not funny. I was like, what's not funny? It's a ball. Volleyball.
It's volleyball.
I think it sounds better, Who knew what a volley was?
It should have been called volleyball.
Thank you. I have no segue from that. We go back to the room. We go back to Jenny's bedroom now. And Sly's under the bed. I don't know. He's like nursing a foot fetish or something, being right close to Jenny's feet. And they all talk about their dream man. And Tiff actually brings up that she likes a guy with fish tanks. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm right here, Tiff. I also pretend to play the bass. Let's do this. And then Jenny lays out this whopper of a man that she loves. She likes Italian suits, fine art, foreign films, like
French cuisine.
Really laying it on thick. And I guess Sly is writing notes. We don't know how long he's down there, but he manages to take her on a date and woo
I
her.
mean, presumably all night.
Yeah, so he had to come up with a lot. That was one of my questions, was how much information did he glean from one conversation that he could carry on this con, that he really knows
Right.
her.
Like, yeah, he wrote down, we see him write down just the, like, here's the list of things I want from a guy. What we don't see is, like, all of the inside jokes, the humor, the favorite movies, the, like, past crushes that they're probably talking. The truth or dare that they continue to play, maybe
Yes.
wrongly, but they're even so, all night. He's under there probably all night, unless they all left for, like, a midnight snack, and then he's like, I got to get out of here. I got to pee.
You're right. They would all have to leave at some point. So some part of his plan with Dennis would be to come back and come up with another story to get them all running out of the room.
Or
at
literally,
one time.
like, sleep under that bed.
Yes.
Which is, like, so... It's deceptive and creepy to begin with, of, like, what we see is just, like, a little snippet. But to, like, really understand that he's probably there for 12 hours minimum.
He is, and he's wearing a cat burglar outfit, too. So
Yeah.
So does Tony go home being like, all right, I guess we're not hanging out. Sly's just, like, under the bed, wanking it to these underage girls. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we should get Sly Winkle on here and like a To Catch a Predator situation
Yeah,
and
I
show
think
him
so.
the receipts.
Absolutely. Does
we're
he
gonna-
like
we're
this show? Does he talk about it?
Yeah, he was on a Jimmy Fallon, got everybody back together in like 2011 or something, and he was just like, I could tell he'd been waiting for this moment for a long time.
I
He really
almost
likes it.
I almost watched that interview, and I planned to, but I wanted more. It is the original. It's the first season cast.
No, it's kind of everybody. So
Okay, so
you'll definitely need some more context.
All right, I'll wait a little bit longer.
You ask me permission before you watch anything California Dreams related.
I have
Sir.
been, which is why you haven't heard me ask for anything, because I'm not ready. I know I'm not ready.
Yes, young grasshopper, you're not ready.
I'm not.
We go to the garage, and Matt is there with a guitar, and I guess TIffany has written some lyrics. Just for anybody following along, Matt's chords here are C, F, G, G, C, A minor, F, G, D minor, which he fucks the chord up, and then he does kind of a C, B chord situation. I think he messed that one up too, but he's actually playing. So D, C, B, F, G, and then the chorus is back to C, A minor, F, G. TIffany busts out this song about Tommy, and it fucking rhymes, and it's got rhythm, it's got heart, it's got kind of a hooky melody. Honestly, the song's not bad. I kind of like it. I was kind of interested in what Tommy was going to do. His big swan song of finally finding friends in Southern California. But Matt cuts her off. He's disgusted with the song.
Yeah, not visibly.
Honestly,
He's trying to be nice, but
he is trying to be nice.
But yeah, he does not like it.
It's just as good as anything Matt's written.
It's true. Like, it's corny, but so far everything has been. So it's like, I don't know. It's, maybe a couple of tweaks if you want to, but it's all there.
I used to write lyrics, and
Really?
some for my band. Yeah,
At Sharky's.
at Sharky's in front of everybody. I wanted people's in real time reactions to what I was writing. I remember I thought I was really good at writing lyrics, and I might still have some of these that we could bust out for some kind of cringe fest. But I remember I was in, it must have been 9th or 10th grade, and I thought I was really deep, and I remember writing lyrics, and I was in a band, and I wanted them to use my lyrics. So I remember leaving a piece of paper with like 2 songs written. I left it on purpose, but I tried to act like it was an accident. And I remember my guitarist at the time, I was like, oh, hey, man, did you find like a sheet of lyrics or something? Like, they're real dumb. I was just scratching something down. And he's like, oh, yeah, I found them. Dr. Seuss. And that that cut me to the core.
What?
For to this day, I think that was kind of the end of my songwriting, my lyric writing career. Because it's true. Every other line rhymed. And I was so into making dark and edgy imagery that I was like forcing it so I could make these, the first and third and second and fourth lines rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
But I really respected him as like a songwriter and lyricist, and he's just him calling me Dr. Seuss and calling me out on this was kind of the reality check that I needed. And then since then I've been an instrumental player because I can't take criticism, of course. So
wow. When are you gonna get over it and write lyrics again?
Oh my God, never. I'm gonna put out a poetry book like Jewel under a nom de plume, so you never know it's me.
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss.
What a tool. I don't know. You gotta make a bunch of bad lyrics before they start to get good. You gotta get the dark, cheesy stuff out of your system to make like decent, dark, cheesy stuff. I never really stopped writing dark stuff, but it's self-aware, baby. It's winking at you. It's cheesy, but it knows better.
It breaks that fourth wall.
It does.
Like construction Zach over there. So after we hear this not so bad Tommy song, Matt kind of shuffles it away and is like, "Oh, let's just let that ruminate and we'll deal with it at practice." Which I guess the practice is gonna happen later or the next day. Again, I'm very jealous of their rehearsal schedule. Oh, what to be young again. Yeah. Anyway, Sly comes in a creepy oversized suit, acting like a fucking tool.
He's trying to embody this dream man persona, and I did looked up suits from this era, and the gray suit. I looked up Italian suits from '92 and things that were popular, and Armani and Valentino had double-breasted gray suits that were very similar to this.
Wow.
The one had like a subtle like checkered stitching on it that was different from what we see Sly in. But Brad Pitt in the 1992 movie Cool World, if you remember that.
Oh, fuck yeah, I remember Cool World.
He's wearing that exact
that
gray suit.
That movie is so fucking bad. And it tried so hard because it was like, you know what people like? Roger Rabbit. You know what we're going to give them? Nothing that made Roger Rabbit work. It is It is gargantuan. It's such a miss on every level that I think everybody who is into film, or Gabriel Byrne, because he's also in it, everybody should see this movie because they did no compositing it's just cartoons on the screen, no shadows, just matte. It is just awful.
It's awesome.
Right.
I enjoy it a lot. But yeah, it is bad. They missed on so many fronts.
I love when people earnestly miss, and I think that's a great thing to love because we're going to be doing 78 episodes of this fucking show.
It's going to miss a couple of those times.
Earnestly, you can't mimic that when somebody fails just because they really actually think it's going to be great. Like you can't. Yeah. That's why I don't like the self-aware movies. I like it when it's just bad and they're like, this was my dream. I really liked that song that I wrote, and then somebody called me Dr. Seuss. Yeah. And I will live my life in regret.
Who's one of the most famous writers of our time? His name is Dr. Seuss. So,
do you know what?
Maybe it was a compliment.
Yeah.
Maybe he loved it. And he was just like, Dr. Seuss. And he was like,
none of my songs rhyme.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I don't know. I know Cool World was kind of a flop, but I do feel like Sly, like it came out in July of that same year. Sly definitely saw that movie.
Oh yeah,
and Sly loved it. Yeah. Yes. And so, like, I mean, it's an identical suit. I couldn't find who made the suit for.
That's a great catch. That's a great catch, man.
But yeah,
I thought it looked like when he looked like when NBA players have to go to some award show and they don't know how to dress properly because they're always in like streetwear. And like in the early 90s, everybody was just in oversized suits. Everything was baggy.
It was baggy. Yeah, because like it all sort of, when he comes in, the canned woos are like, we're supposed to be impressed. And like to our eyes now, not through the fashion lens of 1992, like it kind of just looks like the oversized stuff that he always wears, but like not, it's just like, but like that is what Italian suits look like that year. They were like a little oversized, and like Brad Pitt was wearing that shit.
Yeah. Brad Pitt, never wrong.
Never.
World War Z.
That's
anyway.
Shit.
Sly coming in like Don Juan. He calls Jenny Jennifer because he's sophisticated now. I was wondering, Zach, are you a Zachariah or Zachary instead of a Zachy when you want people to take you seriously?
What are you implying? I am a Zachary. Zachary.
Not a Zachy.
I am not.
Has anybody called you Zachy?
Yeah, people call me Zachy sometimes. Yeah, Zachy's one of my nicknames, but it's only a few people call me that. My nieces call me that.
I guess they're allowed to.
Yeah. Lil Zachy Walker is my side project. Walker's my middle name.
Your middle name's Walker? How did we not ever know this?
Zachary Walker Fable. Because Fable is my real last name, baby.
And you should be doing the walkies on the bass. That's good.
I'm thinking about it.
So they said Sly says he's going to take his grandmother's church group to the Museum of Fine Arts. Now, I looked this up. There's the LA California Museum of Fine Art that's in Southern California. So I guess they are in LA. Do we ever find out where they're specifically from? Is this San Diego? Is this Tijuana? We don't know.
We may never.
We are back at Sharky's, and Jenny is she's being really contemplative, and she's like, is Sly hot? And I wanted to ask you that. Is Sly objectively good looking? Putting aside his slime ball attitude, and he's a little smug. But, he does get shirtless in this show a lot, and he's very cut, especially for what he's supposed to be 16 years old. He's very built for his age.
Yeah.
Do you find him attractive? Would you find him attractive as a person?
The first time he has a Tom Cruise look to him. Yeah, that was gross. The first, like a young Tom Cruise.
Color of Money Tom Cruise, yeah.
Yeah, like when we first see exactly when we first see him, before we even meet him, we see him in the intro to the whole thing, and not knowing that he was going to be the character he was, it was like, it looks like a Tom Cruise. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't think, as opposed to like a Screech character that is like traditionally more of a funny looking person.
As opposed to Brad Pitt in Cool World.
Like, well, we get other side characters in shows like this that are playing a character that's obnoxious and might have to do more to be suave.
Yeah.
Sly has such an unattractive personality that like he leads so hard with. It really is hard to answer this honestly. I think in general he's a decent looking guy though. Okay. I think
he's not my type.
He's not mine either. So that's part of it. It's like, but I don't. But it's not like, gross.
Like Tiffany's song. I'm gonna let that ruminate, and we'll just let it sit,
let it breathe,
and we can kind of come back to it at some point. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so we might have our Jenny moments, and we might see him and be like, "Oh man, is Sly hot?"
I don't think the fashion is ever gonna do it for me in the show. Like, I love the fashion; it's so quintessential '90s. But I don't think that anybody could come out and really wow me. I'm very particular with the guys that I find attractive. I think Jenny later looks really good in the red dress, but Jenny looks like a 30-year-old woman on this show. So I'm thinking more like, oh, I was a young kid and she kind of looked like a mom. So I found her attractive for that. And she had short, dark hair, which I was like into. But again, she's become so abrasive, and especially in this episode, which she's justified because she has a lot of rapey dudes around her.
Exactly.
It's tough to, like, she's probably always on the defense because, like, these guys are just, like, constantly pawing at her.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're sitting at the table, and we talked about it earlier, but we finally see the Sharkies logo on the menu. And it's a big buff shark, like kind of what you would see at Grand Theft Auto Beach, like we talked about last week. And it's holding a surfboard, and it's got shorts on, and has full fucking legs. And I fucking wish I could get a prop of this. We're scouring eBay for any props from the show, but I would love to see what was actually on this menu. Because we don't know what they sell.
We don't, because they're rarely eating more than, like, fries.
No. And it's just drinking, like, sodies and those fucking flat-ass milkshakes that don't leave any froth. So I'm get really upset by that. So... Oh God. Anyway, sorry, I'm a little lost here. How do we get to?
Oh well, Sylvester now. Basically asks Jenny to on a date, on a proper date here at Sharky's. And she accepts, and then I think we immediately cut back to the kitchen where they're just getting back, and like you said, this is like a full ass date. I know we got 22 minutes to make all this happen. So like we gotta kind of move things along, but the speed at which everybody lets this happen is alarming. like Matt's like, I'm too busy with my, like, yeah, do whatever you want, fellas. Like, you can spy on my sister and her friends. This is fine. I got to go write this song. And kind of just is like vaguely annoyed at first, and is just like, whatever. And then like Tiffany's like, wow, Jenny, you might like him, actually. That's crazy. This guy we've hated for 12 years. Anyway, now he's going to come ask you out. I'll leave you be. Like
tomorrow. They go out tomorrow. So if
like nobody
Friday,
is talking, is
Saturday.
Trying to talk sense. Like nobody's trying to be like they don't believe Sly when he first walks in to practice space, like in this new Brad Pitt suit and his new he's spitting some very romantic lines, and he comes in with flowers and everything. Like the band is laughing at him, but then beyond that,
rightfully so. Yeah.
I guess Matt has. Matt never gets on board. He's never on Sly's side.
But he should be. It's his sister. Like, if he knows his friend is, like, conning his sister and trying to get in her pants, and he has, no good intentions with her, like, did we find out if Matt and Jenny are twins? Did we ever get that confirmed? Twins? I mean, I think they are. They look like they're in the same age. They're definitely in a lot of the same classes whenever we do get a fucking school. But we've never actually heard fraternal twins at this point. But could she be? Are they like Irish twins, or like they're just like very close in age?
I don't know. He doesn't. He's never team Sly about this. The way that like Tiffany's just like, well, okay, give him a chance. Maybe he's changed.
Well,
but he's definitely. But he's definitely never on Jenny's guard as much as he should be, I think.
Okay. Well, I mean, speaking of Sly, he looks like fucking Gordon Gekko in this scene, and it's really upsetting. He's got the oversized shirt, which he says later his shirt is from his dad, but he's got the fucking suspenders. Anyway, they said they just got back from a foreign film after dinner. Now, I if you would like to know, the foreign films that came out around this time.
I would.
have some. I have the. I have what they're about, and I want you to decide real quick.
Okay.
Which one they saw. Okay.
Okay.
So one is called Twin Dragons with Jackie Chan, and he plays twins. Speaking of twins, and it's a Jackie Chan film. It doesn't really matter about the plot. The Bachelor is a Hungarian film. All right. And that's about a pre-World War I physician in Austria struggles with his decision about which woman he will marry. Miranda Richardson plays the roles of two different women in the film. So again, twins. Right?
Yeah.
And the other one is called A Heart in Winter. And this, okay, I love this. Stefan is an emotionally distant but professionally dedicated violin restorer whose cold heart is tested when his employer's new girlfriend, a beautiful violinist, falls for him. So, which movie did Sly put up with so he could go on a date with Jenny?
A Heart in Winter.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, like especially because they get back. He's dropping her off in the kitchen, and she's like stoked and impressed.
It's a music film. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a music film. It's the most obvious. I guess the second one could have been too, but there's a little bit more. There's room for messiness. You know?
Yeah, a World War I
it's
physician where there was like no real medicine going on at that time. Yeah, of course.
Sounds pretty rough.
I'm bummed they didn't get to watch Twin Dragons, but
Twin Dragons is a great flick.
I'm also bummed that Sneakers wasn't the official movie of the third episode. So this is also
we don't know that it wasn't.
We don't know. This is also where
I still
Jenny.
think it was.
So Jenny tells Matt that she's into Sly, and he is telegraphing a spit take to happen like a mile away. Whatever. Dennis comes down and is like,
you know what? I will say though, like, there's a moment of like physical execution in this when he like spits. She's staring off into space, talking about Sly, and without looking, like picks up a towel and hands it to Matt, and then Matt, like, it all happens. It's a good physical comedy moment.
Wow.
It was good.
I guess we're gonna have to disagree on that. I think I wanted a second take on that, but you're like,
it's
one take,
not.
Jake. They got it.
Well, I don't think it was the spit that was the funny part. The funny part was like her, like it was subtle acting I haven't seen from her, where she's like, it's the way she's staring off, and like. Just continuing, but going into autopilot of grabbing this towel and handing it to her brother.
Got a regular Buster Keaton over here.
I thought it was funny. And I thought also, like, that was such a simple, like, that's such simple choreography that really you can write in anywhere. That, like, I enjoyed that moment. And it also was like, man, how lazy that they don't do moments like that more often, or often in general. Like, that was a well executed, rehearsed, very simple moment that made the delivery funnier.
Wow.
You hated it.
Hot take on the spit take from Zach. He liked it. He loved this episode. His favorite one yet.
Favorite one yet for this scene alone.
I think it's this scene because Dennis comes in and he rats on Sly for $10. This poor kid's just trying to get paid. I don't know if he ever gets paid that $10, but now Jenny knows. We go back to Sharky's, and then there actually, speaking of which, there is kind of a funny line delivery here, and
here we go. Your favorite moment of this,
my favorite part was Tony was, Matt is, I don't know, I forget the context, but Matt is just talking. Oh, he's complaining because he can't write the song or whatever. And Tony's like, do you find me desirable? And Matt's like, were you listening to anything I said? And he's like, no. It's like, I wouldn't either. Matt's boring. All right.
Well, he is boring. It's true. He was worried about how to tell Tiffany he didn't like her lyrics.
Right.
Which
It's
Like,
definitely something we'll talk about.
Yeah, it's funny that he cut him off. I was like, no, I'm not listening. But it's also like, man, this is actual band stuff.
Yeah.
Talk more about the band.
I know.
This is a real, like, this is, if you're a writer in the band, the lead writer, and you open up the floor to that, and a band member has lyrics that are subpar and don't fit with the rest of the catalog, it's hard. It's a hard conversation.
It is a hard conversation.
It takes a lot of diplomacy, especially if they're your friends and you like them.
I mean, just leave it to a drummer to not give a shit about what's going on in the band, though. So
Exactly.
this is a very real moment.
Yeah.
And I also congratulate, I think is the word. I congratulate them at this point because they could have easily gone for the gay joke here, where Tony's asking if he's desirable, and there could have been like, whoa, I'm not like that, and they didn't. So this show continually, accidentally is progressive and doesn't go for the lame joke.
Yeah, they just are like, yes, like that's not odd that you asked me that.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd that you interrupted me when I was speaking.
Wait, say that again?
He's not alarmed by the question of being asked if he's desirable. He's just like, hey, are you listening? Hey.
And he does actually spit some truth bombs here where he says, like, guess what? Not every girl's going to be attracted to you, and it doesn't mean anything. It just means that one girl's not attracted to you. I was like, oh, damn. Like, and then it finally gets through to Tony, enough so he goes up to Jasmine and tells her as such and apologizes for harassing her constantly.
Yeah.
And then we almost have a good moment where somebody learns something and then immediately it is undone, as the show often does. And the girl's like, you know what? I'm giving you a shot now since you said one true thing. And then you can immediately go back to your horn dog ways. Almost. We were so close.
Let's go be honest on the beach.
Yes. And then did you notice their exit music was like this terrible generic like hip hop beat? It was, come on.
It's not great.
Come on. It's not good.
It wasn't.
But at least it's the theme of the episode where it's all about love bombing, manipulation, gaslighting, catcalling, harassment, orbiting, and the birth of an incel, really, because we see what happens to Sly later on. But before that, we're back in the garage. Tiff is tuning her bass, and it's really suspect. She goes right from the low E to the G, and I'm like, what are you tuning to? What's going on? Anyway,
I don't want to get in the way of that. I think that's bass stuff, but I believe you. Just judging by the tone in your voice, you seem heated.
I was upset. I was also upset. Speaking of tune, did you see her string winding technique on that bass head? No. Those strings are fucking spaghetti. They're like everywhere. And that's definitely not on the other basses that we've seen on these other episodes. It is just, that's what I used to do because I think it was cool. Yeah. You know, the same time I was writing poetry and I wanted people to think I was deep, I was also tuning my strings like an asshole, and the strings were just every which way.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was not, it was dangerous.
It was so dangerous.
An eye out.
Yeah, I didn't stop that recently enough to talk. I'm sorry.
So, Sly
I'm sorry,
comes
everyone.
in. Yeah, I'm
sorry.
Too.
The retinas to the left of me.
I had a question here. Jenny tells Sly in this scene, she's like, why don't you come over to my place tonight? And it's like, they're at her place. She lives in a house with a whole family. It's where you were the last 2 nights, fucker. What the hell?
The place you still are. You mean the like right in there? Like we're in the garage, but you want to come to my house
through the kitchen,
that door
up to my room with the Shingles poster. That's where you go.
That's where you want to go.
They played their new song first. That's what TIffany says. Do you start a rehearsal like right after tuning into a brand new song, or do you like warm up first?
Typically I would warm up first, but
you're short on time, maybe.
Yeah, and
if they play every single day, maybe they already are warmed up.
Yeah, they don't really need to review. Like I think because this whole episode is about working on a new song, I'm gonna guess that this is sort of like a phase, an era of their band where they're working on new material, because they are.
Okay.
But so they're maybe not worrying about going over old stuff and practicing stuff they already know. They're like, let's go into it. Like, we are working on new stuff. We're just gonna play the new songs, and what does everybody have? We got some new chord progressions.
I got this new chord progression. It's A minor to C to G to F.
You're gonna lose your mind.
I just throw in one extra note, something. Put a D suspended or sharp a ninth. Do something.
We might have gotten there, but we never hear it because Matt won't allow it.
You think Matt plays a diminished chord at all in this series ever?
I
really
think
put thought into it.
I really did. Well, I think selectively in one part. You know what? So there's one part where Tony gets turned down, and it's while Matt is playing the guitar, and he does the like.
Oh yeah, the walk down.
The walk down, like wah 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 wah, kind of like, that's not the one he did, but that's the comedic effect he's trying to do. It's just a blues walk down that he plays. So I don't think he puts it into songs, but I think he definitely learns that, like, oh shit, if you take this diminished chord and then you move it up and then you move it up again, it's all the same. It's just different. It's different. It's rearranged the same 4 notes. I think he found that, and I think he uses it for comedic effects. I don't think he puts it into songs, but I do think he does it in practice.
Okay. So not where it counts is what you're saying.
Absolutely not where it counts.
Anyway, he reluctantly tells Tiff that he doesn't like the lyrics, but he does it in a real reticent way, I guess would be the word. And then Jenny's like, understandably, you gonna take that, Tiff?
Well, before that, like,
that
I mean, yes, but I just TIffany does react with her normal self of being like, I just, like, I wish you had felt comfortable enough in our friendship to be honest with me and told me earlier. And he's like, you're right. I should have. That was wrong of me. And that is the moment that I was going to refer to as, like, that was a like, oh, they just talked. They just had an honest, and then he admitted to, like, mess it up. And she was like, hey, you don't, But then also, then Jenny, go ahead.
Yeah, well, then Jenny's like, she kind of goes her into saying what she really feels, and we finally get, like, this badass, monologue from Tiff, and then she immediately backpedals, but not more in like a more in a
I could never
way.
Say that.
Yeah,
like after she says it, she's like, I could say that.
But she said it without saying it, which is great. But she let herself be human for a second, but also, was really, outwardly. Sorry, she was really open about it just being, like, put out in the universe and let it wisp away like a cloud of smoke. Like, it's better not to hold on to that. He gets the point. I said what I had to say, and we're gonna move on. But
and what she had to say was, like, even though it was sweet to have the, like, hey, you should have just told me, is also like, that resentment can build up. So, like, her getting it off her chest was good.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was like, hey, that's true. Like, what do you think? You're some kind of, what did he say? Mozart, to, like, that I should care about your opinion of my lyrics.
Mozart, a famous lyricist in history.
Was it Mozart? What did I don't remember what musician she referenced.
What was around this time? Billy Ray Cyrus, I think she said.
I think she said Billy Ray. Do you think you're some kind of Billy Ray Cyrus?
You think you're some kind of William Raymond Cyrus?
Yeah. You think you're going to break my heart? You my achy, breaky heart.
I have an enlarged heart syndrome, and I'd appreciate you not breaking it.
Please don't.
Because that list is long for a transplant. we're doing our best to not talk about the rest of the episode. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
We don't actually get a rehearsal. How did the rehearsal go?
How did it go?
Why is
Also,
Sly hanging around for the rehearsal? He's the fucking manager.
why didn't we hear? It's a show about a band, I thought. Why didn't we
It
hear?
is. I swear, Zach. Okay, like.
Why didn't we hear okay, hey, I didn't really like your lyrics, so I tweaked them, and here's what I came up with, and then they play it, and it's like, oh, cool, and then she like hops in with some background vocals with her own like lyrical doodling, and is like, oh, that's cute. Hey, look, we co-wrote this, but we had to, We had to
I
get
think
there.
that would have been good. I think the writers and the music supervisors on the show get lazy.
They already
Don't get it.
skipped a week.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Look, I understand the Sinead O'Connor thing was devastating to everybody, but you know what? You got to throw yourself in work, and that's the only way you can mourn and heal.
That's right. Are you an artist or not?
So Jenny has hatched her plan to get back at Sly.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we have to run through in this. Are they drinking wine in this scene? This is the second time. Earlier in the episode, Tony makes mention of drinking wine or being like a fine wine. And then this time, I don't know. She just said, "Let's have something to drink,"
And then comes out with.
They never say if it's wine or grape juice or V8 or whatever the fuck was popular around then.
I think it's probably a wine. No, I think it's. Well, they're in like juice glasses.
Yeah,
So I'm
it's
gonna
a lot
say
of wine if it
it's
is.
juice. I'm gonna say it's supposed to be juice.
Is this Germany? Are they just allowed to drink and they're just cool with it?
This might be in Germany, and they can just drink. Also, do you think the Garrison's parents are the type to be like, "Hey,
Have
it's
one at
okay if
home?
you have a little bit"?
Yeah.
Yes, it's all right.
I don't think so. We've seen how that dad dresses, and
You don't think
I don't
so?
know.
I don't think so either.
we don't know. Are they just like upstairs? Is everyone just upstairs while like this is going on? Do you think the dad's in the den reading a newspaper or something? You think
That's
they
a
just
great
locked
question.
Dennis up?
Because my family was like always home.
Yeah, always just walking around,
Yeah,
looking
like they're
embarrassing me.
yeah. If I had people over, it was like they're over with the family. There was no like, hey, come have dinner with just me. It's like I don't have that luxury. This is a house we share.
I would really like to get a chef on here to talk about the meal that Jenny has prepared them, which is just presumably grape juice, tomato soup, and shish kebabs.
She wastes most of it.
A cultural blend of cuisine here, and she does. She dumps both glasses of Malbec or Pinot Noir on Sly, an entire bowl of soup on his genitals, and then I guess the joke here is that she's going to stab him with shish kebabs. She writes something in her journal knowing Sly's going to read it, and then anyway, it's so dumb, and like the Tony arc here, it's Sly gets called out and being kind of a rapey dick, and he's like, nuh-uh, I got hurt once, so it further justifies me and how I treat women for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then she feels bad, and then immediately he's like, sees her, she's vulnerable, and he's like, give me a kiss. I asked for a kiss. I want to plant a big sloppy one. And then she tries to attack him with a bat, and then we get a fucking freeze frame. End of episode.
End of episode. Freeze frame. Bat attack.
Bat attack. That's what the episode should be called.
Bat attack.
Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. I can't attest. I told you I cannot attest to all of these episodes, Zach, and they will have music stuff. But we're just gonna have to be strong and get through some of these episodes that don't have much music stuff, and it's gonna make us better people. Okay.
Yeah.
This episode should have been called "Fine Like Wine."
Fine like wine.
Instead of taking the line "Dream Man," they should have taken that line instead.
Well, this is a show for kids, and that's definitely like an alcohol.
That's true.
They're very vague about it. I definitely think that these people have probably the nonchalance of it. I definitely think that they probably have a sip of wine. I don't know. Were you guys allowed to have a sip of wine when you were growing up?
Yes, actually, which is
Strange.
weird. How reserved my folks tended to be about most things. But that was my mom made her own mead and like honey wine and wine from the grape orchard that
Did you grow
she
up
had.
Amish, dude?
Third generation Mennonite, baby.
I brew mead.
It's
does.
delicious. Yeah. I did that a bit too, and brother did. It's great. So we were allowed to have like some of that, but no more than like a finger. It was like not enough to feel anything. It's like when you
My grandparents owned a bar, so I was definitely allowed to have the wine on special occasions.
see. How about you, Pete?
I remember being offered it when I was a kid, and I remember being offered it, and I said no, and then I was kind of regretting my decision of saying no, and then by that point there was only like Busch Light beers on the table because it was like a family get together, and they're like, "Why don't you try some of that?" And even then, I knew I was like, "No, I wanted the classy one in the wine glass. I don't want a shitty Busch beer."
Yeah.
And like 7-year-old me was like, "No, my palate is too refined for that."
Yeah. And nothing's changed.
It was a good
Nothing
choice.
has changed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think I had some shitty beer as a kid too, as like because beer works well as a fertilizer, like a make your own fertilizer for gardening. You can mix it with things.
really?
Yeah,
You say that
so
like people should know that.
no one should know this. Yeah, my parents made everything like from scratch at home. So we had some shitty cheap beer, and for that reason, because my parents don't drink aside from the like little bits of mead. And yeah, that was an offer of like, hey, see how bad it tastes. You won't like it.
That's so wasteful to make all that mead and not drink it.
Yeah, they didn't make a lot of batches. I mean, it would last a long time because we didn't drink that much.
Do you guys remember the? Do you guys remember the beer brand Red Dog?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Tommy Lee Jones did the voice of it, didn't he?
Wow.
Whoa.
No, I did not remember that.
Okay.
Hang on. I'm going to look this up real quick. I remember being at a family get-together, and I remember one of my cooler cousins was sitting next to my dad, and he's like, he had just brought out a can, and he's like, hey, to my pastor father, he was like, hey, you know what this looks like when you flip it upside down? And my dad's like, no. And he like flipped it upside down. He's like, it's a girl's coochie. And I was like sitting there at the table, and I didn't see it. And so I didn't, obviously I was very young and stuff, but I remember looking over very specifically and being like, ha ha ha, like trying to act like, yeah, I get it. I'm a guy.
Yeah, it
I
does.
understand. But now I'm looking at the Red Dog brand. I guess it's a bull. I'm trying to like flip my head upside down to see this. I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
If I'm being honest, but I've also never told anybody that. But
we got a time of firsts here. You're feeling very open with us, and I appreciate that.
I know we're gonna see if I regret this, but we shall see.
And that is confirmed. It was Tommy Lee Jones for the commercial.
I just took it. I took a photo from the internet and rotated it.
Does it look like a female genitalia? Does it look like anything else? Did I mishear him as a kid? Does it look like a butthole?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I'm trying to see which part of it because there's a lot going on here.
Okay.
Like, if it's like, oh, there it is. No, I don't think so.
That guy was such a bad influence.
I never thought I was going to stare at the jowls of a cartoon dog as long as I have right now.
This motherfucker never watched Clifford, apparently. So, anyway, I'm upset the episode wasn't better, but I'm glad we like stuck through it. We have some fun stuff planned. I think we're going to talk more in the after show about like how many times we've had to tell people in our bands that we don't like their lyrics or their songwriting or something. We're going to talk about how that's going to happen. So if you guys want to hear more stuff, please subscribe to our Patreon content.
Yes,
some cool shit going on over there. But
so for all of you listeners, thank you for joining us. This is the end of the road. We appreciate your listening, but we're now going to move on to the after show with all the patrons who make this show possible. So thank you for your support.
Hey, we still love you. You guys, you know it. If you don't support, we can't.
We get it.
It's okay.
But we got to pay some bills, so...
Yeah, it's just like Tiff's dad has to go out of town for work. He just has to make stuff happen. I understand maybe you're just too busy. But
yeah, this is now the Tiff's dad segment where we go off to business.
We go and really hard. We're going to talk about his traveling vacuum salesman job.
We're going to talk about that and the lyrics Pete used to write as a kid.
I mean, you jest, but I still have a trunk full, and then we'll be the judge on whether or not they rhyme really well. So
yeah, songwriting in general, you know, we're gonna get around.
But thank you, and we're gonna see you next week. That's the important part. Thank you so much for listening,
and we can't wait. Thank you.
So, Pete, talking about past lyrics, do you remember the time, and I guess you were a freshman in high school, we didn't really know each other very well, but we were like sitting together for lunch one of the first times, and you passed me a sheet of paper and said, I wrote these lyrics. What do you think of them? Do you remember them at all?
No, I don't. No,
Okay.
do you?
I do.
Do you have them?
I do. I have them right here.
You have them?
I have them.
No, you don't.
Here are the lyrics on
Wait,
the piece
how
of
do you
paper
have
that Pete actually gave me.
You kept the
Can you
piece of
show
paper?
me? Can you show me the
for
receipt
60
here?
years?
You actually have the paper, or did you like digitize this?
I digitized it.
Wow. Because
All right,
I only wrote on
the lyrics
parchment with quills.
Pete actually wrote and handed to me. We're taking all you down with me. Explosives duct tape to my spine. Nothing's gonna change my mind. I won't listen to anyone's last words.
Okay, I gotta stop you. I know what this is. I was not a. This was a joke. I really wish you had some of my actual lyrics. I wrote an entire Green Day song out. I didn't. I was like, I really like these lyrics. I didn't. Look, I'm not a plagiarist. Okay, although we're on a show where I'm just reacting to somebody else's content. This is egregious, and this is slander and libel. If you ever put this down,
prove you didn't.
Well, prove I did, because you don't have the actual parchment paper, which I wrote this on.
Fair, but
I do remember this. I remember I wanted to impress my girlfriend, so I did write out maybe somebody else's lyrics, but I immediately said, like, actually that's not mine. But
you admitted that they weren't yours. Then.
I did, but
were you intending to get away with it? Like when you first wrote it, you're like, I'm gonna do it, and then you thought better of it.
I'd say, if I'm being honest, maybe somewhere halfway. Like if somebody didn't know the Green Day song, it's called Having a Blast. It's off Dookie. I was hoping that maybe they would go through the rest of their life being like, you know what, that guy could write a song, and they just didn't know. Like, I wouldn't have hated that outcome, but I knew my friends who were also into the same music I did. The jig would be up really quick. So
yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Asshole.
So, in this episode, TIffany wrote lyrics for Matt, and Matt obviously does not like them. How do you deal with criticism toward another band member's work? Do you just tell them, "Hey, I'm sorry, this sucks," or do you let them stew about it for 2 weeks and then go, "Yeah, I'm just not going to use that. Thanks."
I don't know. You can answer that first, Zach. I mean,
Yeah, I usually there's a back and forth. Usually there's I mean, I feel like the dynamic's actually pretty similar, where like Matt is set up as like the main lyricist. Like pretty similar to The California Dreams is just like Fable Cry. No, but Matt's position in the band being, I relate to it. He's a primary songwriter, but the door is open to others who have suggestions. I think because of the sort of default lyricist that I am, there is an understanding of like, it hasn't been too hard to like, I guess I have had final say in these lyrics. So if something it needs tweaking or isn't fitting right, that is understood sort of from the beginning. And I mean, this is not the case with California Dreams, but there's usually room for like most of the people in this band also have other musical projects. So a denial of like using a song or an idea for this band doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, you're never going to be able to use this, period.
Yeah, it's not in the garbage forever.
Yeah, it's more like, I don't know if that's like, I would like to make this fit with our set or this next album better. So like, let's tweak it and go back and forth.
You're not holding it over them. If you're not writing for me, you're writing for nobody.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like,
singing at a gas station.
Yeah, there have been times when people have wanted, like, have come with songs or come with ideas that they like really wanted to make songs out of, that I kind of, this is earlier in the band, so it was, I think I was better at, or worse at communicating, but we kind of like sideswiped, where it's like, we'll kind of, maybe if we get around to it, but really it was like, that's just not, it'd be like someone who doesn't play guitar, who knows some guitar, and like comes up with a riff that they think is really cool, and it's like that, it's a decent riff, but like it's not, you could, it's like when Pete, like when guitar players try to write bass riffs, it's like, it sounds like a guitar riff on a bass. Like so sometimes it's that, where it's like, this is not, sometimes you sidestep.
Yeah.
And then they call you out sometimes, and then you gotta admit, you gotta be like, yeah, you're right, I should have just told you that I didn't really like that.
But I could never, even now, like doing this so long and having to tell people multiple times that like that's not going to work out or whatever. Like I could still feel myself cringing at the thought of telling somebody like, nah, that's not good. I think where I'm at now, because I've been like a band leader so long, I would shit gold nuggets if somebody came up and was like, hey, I have this fully formed song with a bunch, like I would love that, because it's like, it's showing initiative and it's showing that they care. Not that the past people in my band haven't cared, it's just they know that I'm the main guy to do it, but I would love if somebody just like stepped up and did it without me asking, or throwing up a white flag and just being like, I need help here. So it's like when it comes to booking, like I'm hitting a ceiling. I can only do so much. Like it would just amaze the shit out of me if you came here and said like, hey, I got us 3 dates here. They might not all work out, but it's showing like proactivity.
Yeah. That
I care too. I'm seeing that you're kind of struggling or hitting a wall. Maybe I can help. Maybe I know some other people you don't, like something. So the same, I would,
Yeah.
I can't think of somebody like doing that and somebody sitting there like TIffany writing a song about this guy named Tommy that she's never met. She took Matt's idea and ran with it. And then she wrote an entire piece, and then to be shot down is kind of shitty. So I think the best thing to do in a situation like this is compromise, try to extrapolate what you can do, find what kind of works, because it's your skeleton, but like it becomes the band song at a certain point. It might sound very similar to what you started with, but because there are now other people involved, they do get a say. But then again, I was in a band with Mike, a really good friend, who I'd love to have on the podcast. He has his own podcast in Denver, and you know, I would say like, man, these lyrics are pretty cheesy, man. And he's like, I don't fucking care. They're great. I love them. Like, he was just so adamant that like, he's like, I don't care. I like them. And if I was like, yeah, but you said the word love like 4 times in the song, like that's just cheesy. And he's like, whatever, man, I'll do it on my solo thing then. Like, that's where, and he didn't say it in an angry tone. It was just like, all right, well, he's like, in his mind, this is a great song. The band can have it, or I'll take it. So,
Yeah.
in a way, they are giving themselves to you. They're giving a part. But I've also had contentious talks with people where, especially drummers, where they're adamant that they want to do something very specific that doesn't really work for the song. And they don't want to get bored playing it. And I'm like, it's not about you. It's about what makes the song good. And sometimes 4 on the floor sounds good. And that's what I want. And I don't care if you get bored playing it. Like, the crowd is going to give us energy if you're bored. So, sorry. TED Talk over.
Well, there's a difference between being a great instrumentalist and a great musician. And a great instrumentalist might be able to play whatever they want on that instrument, but a great musician can step outside of their own instrument and listen to the arrangement of the whole and see what best fits. Mm-hmm. And I played with a lot of instrumentalists who want their instrument on it. It's like that's you're gonna be there, but like it's gotta also sound good with what everybody else is doing. It has to fit the song.
It's almost like it's a whole band process. This band thing.
Yeah.
All right. So moving along, in this episode, Matt keeps getting interrupted while he's trying to work out a song on his acoustic guitar. He moves around to a couple different rooms and all that. What's your writing process? What do you do to make sure that you don't get interrupted? You know, like, where do you write? Is there a certain instrument that you like to start out on? Like, do you have a certain acoustic guitar that you always try and write on? Or is it just whatever comes to mind, that's where you go?
Whatever xylophone happens to be next to you.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's like the order is different for every song. I do need seclusion pretty much all the time in order to create. Like the idea of like even writing like in the same room as somebody is like I need my space completely clear.
If I can interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
In your household with your partner, is that like a point of contention where it's like, hey, I need you to fuck off, I'm trying to write here? Or is that just something that they're used to now? Or
no, I mean, they also
have puppets
like,
to play with.
It's true, and they play in the band too, so they understand. But I have like my room area and studio is pretty separate from the rest of the house, so like I always have that. I will write other places when others aren't home, and then like if I'm like really in the zone and I'm like, you know, in the living room or, you know, by a window, because the studio's in the basement, so there are no windows. So sometimes during the day I might want to be somewhere else where there's daylight. But yeah, as soon as I see somebody driving up, I'm like, all right, I got to go to the basement. Time to go down here. But yeah, the order changes a lot. Like Matt jumping around from like keyboard to guitar to like notepad. Like that's not super uncommon for me. Like I think most riffs I write, like guitar riffs, usually come out of like just fucking around.
You write them on your bedroom piano, right?
Exactly. It's
Your
my bedroom, my little
riffs.
my little bell
your
piano.
guitar. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I get it.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, I don't know. I Frankenstein a lot of songs together too. Like it's like I have like a lot of cataloged riffs in different keys that I'll like record on my phone or like record real fast in the studio and then kind of like put aside if I don't have more ideas for it, and then lyrics or like melodies will come in, and that might be so. Yeah, I wish I had. I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't wish that I had like one way of writing, but it's definitely all over the place where sometimes the lyrics come first, sometimes the guitar, sometimes the drums. Sometimes I'm like, I just want to write a song to this drum beat, and it goes from there.
Yeah, well, you have like a dedicated practice space and studio, which is like very lucky. Here in New York, it's like everything is like in one room, and yeah. I don't know. I play 8-string bass primarily in the band, so to set my pedals up would be annoying, and having an amp always on the ready, and there's just not a lot of space to do any of this. So most of my songs are written on acoustic guitar, and I tune that like my bass, and if it sounds good, I will try it on bass and be like, oh fuck, this sounds totally not good because this was written on a completely different instrument. But a lot of times it kind of translates, and I'll take it. And my phone is just littered with fucking ideas. And like Matt did in the episode, like I'll go to bed thinking that this is fucking awesome. And I wake up in the morning and I just listen to what I did. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so ugly as a physical person. And also this riff sucks. So, or conversely, you write something and it's awesome and you don't have enough storage on your phone. And you're like, you think it's the best thing ever written, but you have forgotten it. So
it's like the Seinfeld episode where you wake up in the middle of the night and write a joke that makes you laugh.
Is this funny?
Yeah. All right. In this episode, Jenny and Sly go on a date. Do you have a policy about band members dating?
Obviously, Zachariah does not.
I did it one time, actually. Yeah, I did it one time, and then there was just like, yeah, no canoodling or dating, and then found out some of them had, but it had been a while, and I was like, what? When did that happen? But yeah, I think I don't know. I sort of stand by my previous decisions to have that as sort of a rule because of because of past lineups where like I think that wasn't a bad call. But also it's like, I don't know, we're all adults and it doesn't matter. So like
it'd be weird to tell two adults what they can and can't do. But
it's a weird rule. Like it wasn't like a rule like it's the band or you guys date. It was just like, hey, this historically gets messy.
Yes,
We'd rather
definitely.
you not. And it also, like, crushes happened constantly and still happen. Like, that's fine, but it's rarely super mutual. So I think some of that rule early on also like helped everybody not have to like actually confront it. You know? The Sly in the band that was trying to get with the Jenny of the band.
You should have showed up in a fucking Italian suit like Brad Pitt in Cool World, and then she would have reciprocated.
That's true.
Damn. Luckily, I don't know how, but being as big of a slut as I am, I've never hooked up with a band member, I don't think, and which is good. I've always cared more about the music than anything else in life, so it does make sense. It's the one like line I wouldn't cross. We have a female band member now, and there's been people that on the road have been like, you guys are together, right? And we're like, oh my God, no, we would make a terrible couple. Like, we have a lot of similar interests, but other than that, no. I love her dearly, but it is like a sister situation, and we're partners, and I respect her to hell for all the songwriting, and she's great to tour with and hang with, and she has like this super awesome, loving husband at home. Like, no, it's just, why would I fuck all that up? You don't
want to step in and be the road husband?
No, I mean, it's too much effort.
So you have that rule,
slutty.
like personally with yourself, but not you wouldn't necessarily make that.
I've never been in
other people.
I've never been in a ska band where there's like 8 people in the band, and I've had multiple options. Okay, it's literally been one person she's been with us 5 years, and no, it's never been like that. And I think maybe during high school we had a female lead singer, but my guitarist ended up hooking up with her, and I was like, being in a high school band, I was like, guys, we gotta take this seriously. Like, you can't hook up. And then me saying that was like a dad being like, you can't see that boy ever again. And of course, that made him want to do it more. So
yeah.
Then the band broke up.
What? Probably
it got messy.
It got messy.
Also because we were 16 years old.
Nope, because it was messy.
It was messy.
So, in this episode, Matt does a spit take when Jenny tells him that Sly might be the man of her dreams. Have either of you ever done a spit take in real life?
I've waited my entire life to do a genuine spit take. I've definitely laughed and spit some stuff out, but never like a what? It's never been a gasping kind of thing. But I've definitely snorted liquid out of my nose because I wasn't expecting someone to like make me laugh in that moment.
Did it like spit out your nose?
Yeah.
I think that might count as a spit take.
If I was drinking any kind of liquid on the last episode, when you said that you sat in the back of your car while watching these episodes, like I would have done a spit take all over my screen. So, but no, I've never been so shocked about something that maybe almost choked on it, but never, because my first inclination, I think, is to swallow what's in my mouth as opposed to spitting it all out. So
I've never done a spit take. It's one of those things though where like you would think it would be really memorable because like for someone to do a spit take, that's like the things that would have to come together in that precise moment to make that happen.
Yeah.
But
it is. It's a perfect storm.
I was one time driving my car through Lancaster with my friend Will in the car, and I can't remember what he said, but it was just after I took like this giant glug of coffee, and he said something that made me laugh, and it just
that's a laugh take. That's not a spit take.
It came
though.
out my nose and just straight down on my pants, my dress pants. On the way to
That's
work.
called vomiting, man. That's upsetting.
No.
All
That
right.
just smelled so bad.
You guys both have sisters. Did they have? Were you, like you guys allowed to have sleepovers? Did your sisters ever have sleepovers? And did you ever spy on them or prank them or anything? Because like there are two things going on here. Like there's a sleepover for the girls, and then Matt has a sleepover also, or at least his friends crash it.
Are they? We don't know yet. We've never confirmed if they stayed over.
Yeah.
I mean, Sly definitely stayed over under the bed, but I don't know what the fuck happened to Tony. And there seems to be no parental supervision what's going on whatsoever.
Right. It seems like an invitation for trouble.
So
yeah, my young. Go ahead, Pete.
Oh, I'm just saying. I remember my sister having sleepovers, but as it got older, it was like this is ripe for something bad happening, But when you're young, it doesn't matter. But yeah, my sister had a slumber party or something. I would try to be the cool older guy, I dropped pieces of paper with poetry on it and just hope somebody found it.
Did it ever work? Did they ever find it?
They love Green Day
apparently
lyrics,
not.
man.
Yeah, they love them.
Did they ever call you Dr. Seuss?
No, that's what my humiliation fetish started.
Oh. Yeah, we had my sister and I were friends with a lot of siblings who also like had brothers and sisters. So we had a bunch of sleepovers and would be like where we kind of were all friends. some of them were early bands, like some of my first bands in high school was like lifelong best friend Ryan, who now does all of our music videos. He and his sister, we met when we were like 11. And so like the four of us did a lot of slumber parties. There were some other friends that as well did. And yeah, it's like basically everybody kind of went to the boys and the girls rooms once we like actually went to bed and to sleep. Yeah, I think I went to a couple of girls' sleepovers because my sister was there and invited, and I was a safe guy, apparently, with some of those. So I was allowed to like sleep in the same room. And
really,
yeah,
I had sleepovers. That's so like that.
It's wild.
Yeah,
guzzling wine in front of your parents. I'm just learning all these new things in front.
Yeah, they're real picky and choosy, you know. But I don't know. Kirsty and I were super close, and like Kirsty was kind of a hard ass too. So like I think parents knew like
Kirstie Alley, of course.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
They knew
she's
they trusted
broad.
me, but they also trusted her. It was like, yeah, I mean, with this combo's fine. Yeah.
So, in this episode, and I'm reminded by in the pilot, Zach, you said the big thing about the pilot and this group of kids is they're all really good to each other. They all treat each other with respect and kindness and all this. I'm starting to get the shits of Matt and Jenny because they're both becoming more and more dicks as this goes on. Like,
Yeah.
Matt's being mean to Tiffany about the lyrics. He's like he's really like being a jerk to Tony about trying to write the song, and throughout the other parts he's getting really mean about being bothered while writing, and Jenny with her sarcasm is starting to get grinding. Do you see that this is where or why they're being written off or anything? Like there's definitely changes happening with the characters, and it's changing the arc
puberty
of the story.
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, I mean, they're less endearing. When I first watched the first episode and this was revealed to me that they were not going to continue to be in the show, I was bummed because I did like them in the first episode, and I was like, oh, this is like, I didn't think they were like amazing, but it also, it felt so
There was a good dynamic.
Integral to the whole show. It was like, how could they do the show without them? That they're the show right now. But now I'm like, I'm not quite eager, but I'm getting there to like, okay, let's see what the new people are. Like, when do they get switched out? Like it's
coming.
They're not earning their stay very well,
And in this episode here, knowing what we do about it while we're watching it, I'm amazed that Sly sticks around because he's so creepy and so cringy, and like,
you need a manager, George.
You
are the Sly. What are you talking about?
Do you think he's there to create the controversy? Is the position in the band that integral for the drama to write the show that he makes the cut? Because
listen,
character's
I know
the worst.
Yeah,
I know you're not trying to spoil anything, and I don't want to spoil anything, but broad strokes answer, Sly is less creepy as it goes on. He's just more of an opportunist, and it's just more like pranks and hijinks kind of thing with him. But he is integral to the band as far as getting them shows. I don't think anybody's able to get a show as well as Sly. At least that's the universe and how it's set up. So they do bring in 4 new characters, so you will have a variety of people to kind of love or hate, and some of them seem like composites, because of the void that is left from the Garrison family. I know we're gonna miss the mom immensely, so we'll see.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about the mom.
Well, she only made it to 2 episodes, apparently.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see. she's in the beginning, so they had to have written some parts for her. You think we're gonna get like a mom and dad episode where they want to rekindle the spark in their marriage or something?
So they get the California Dreams to play their like 25th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
That's defo gonna happen.
Totally. Or like they got to go out of town on their anniversary trip. And so they're like,
Grand Canyon, of course.
And Sylvester's like, well, then we should definitely throw a house party. And they're like, no, we can't do that. And then they come home early.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, you know what? Let's let the dreams play, and it's gonna be all okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking it'll be more like Mrs. Doubtfire, where Mr. Garrison's going to be throwing this big basher, and she's going to come home early and ruin the whole thing.
Perfect.
Wait,
do you think
sorry, that's a weird point to pull up of Mrs. Doubtfire. There's plenty of other movies where there's a fucking party that gets busted without a cross-dressing British nanny in the mix. That's all.
But not by the dad who's throwing the party. Like, it's always the kids who get in trouble for throwing the party.
Still, you could have brought up Cool World, okay?
Do you think?
All right, well,
do you think we should have winners of the episodes, like at the end of these, episodes, talk through?
I love this idea.
Like having characters that maybe showed the most character growth, or just like maybe exhibited something that was like impressive or comical. Like it can be for whatever reason, like standout characters, even if it wasn't around them.
Like best cat burglar outfit.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like this idea because I was on the Baywatch podcast, and they have what's it called? The Hoff Award, which is like the best character on the show, and then they have the Jilly. And Jill was a character in season 1 that's like, so she's such a bad actress. So they give like the best and worst actress of the show.
We should do the best and worst. I mean, I feel like Tiffany's gonna almost always win like best person award, because she's just like the one.
We should keep it music oriented though, like best musician of the episode, and then like best band member, I should say, because it doesn't always have to be about being musically talented.
Sure.
It's about, that's a really good idea. We should incorporate, and I'm hoping once we launch officially, we can have our listeners kind of chime in on stuff they'd like to see. So
we could have like the Tony or the Country Music Award.
The Tony.
The Tony Award. Very good.
The Tiffy, the Maddie, the Jenny. Like, all right. We're going to workshop that.
Yeah. It's something to play around with.
I'm going to let it ruminate like that Tommy song.
Just let it breathe.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. That's going to do it. Patrons, again, thank you so much for your support. You make everything possible. If you could do us a huge favor and tell a friend about the show, or rate our show in iTunes or Spotify, that would be a big help. Thank you again, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.